Thanks for staying with us. So, a story caught our attention on social media, which we thought was quite interesting. A young lady said, my friend burst out in tears because she's the one who caters largely for her father and her stepmom and her siblings, obviously their children. According to her, her dad told her he wants to have more kids with his new wife, and she should please assist them with IVF money. And according to her, you can't afford IVF and you want to have twins. And, you know, and that's the issue. But now, that story is something we can link to other stories that have come to the ladies. There's another story of a young woman who is working so hard, but yet her family expects her to be the one to feed and take care of them at home consistently because, hey, why, Jenwamo, you have to take care of your family. Not only that, another story came on where a young lady who works hard is having to feed her older brother, the firstborn, who lives with her. So she's between your 21, 28 kind of young girl, upwardly mobile, has a good job, and she's having to feed her older brother, the elder son, who lives with her. Now, we hear of stories where a man and a woman get married, and the woman is the one running, making all the money. Yes, when you enter the marriage, both of you accept, okay, I'm the one running things. But when you're just you're not yet married, you're single, you're still building your career, but yet you have responsibilities to your parents, in this situation, to your half-siblings, to your elder brother, your other siblings, and you're just a young girl. How do you get out of this? Where does a person like this get help from? Who does she talk to? Who can help her out? That's the conversation, and there are lots of women in this situation. Please call us if you're one of those. We'd like you to join this conversation. Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694, and also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. This story is quite heartbreaking because I know a lot of young people. I mean, now, when you say heartbreaking, it depends on how you look at it. Because I've been in these shoes where I was working, my father was sick, my mother wasn't working. Yes, my brothers lived abroad, so they were sending that monthly to my parents, but I also had the responsibility of knowing that everything I earn, yes, I had my savings, but I had to also contribute. So yeah, that part is always there.
Your
but
own case
it's
was
different. Yeah, but in this situation, these ladies feel they're overpressured to contribute to the family.
Look at it from the two sides are clearly here. So first from the side of the person who's supposed to provide, who's well-to-do, and the side of the person who is a dependent, because life is about two sides. There's always going to be that balance and imbalance. They will say it's because of you that God has, because of one person that God has blessed you. So you have to carry both. So we'll address how both parties must support themselves per time. So for this young girl, and the way I see life, if you're in the position to provide, there's a humility, but a strong, assertive stand on how you must do that. Because if you don't put lines and boundaries, the person asking, no go tired to ask them.
Yes, sir.
And so you have to give, you will have to be wise. Just recently, and I won't be able to state details, I had someone who said to me, and you know, because this is the way your dad has always done things for us, you have to do it.
Continue.
And I cannot, Muriel, in this life, I pray that I exceed but I know my father's magnanimity. No child of his can do that, except, you know, there's grace. And so when somebody now brings that in, it's blackmail. To use that...
Transferring what your daddy used to do to you is
blackmail. You're asking, that I'm always wondering how this man does it. How, you know, he just lives in his simple little things, everything he has. How do you want me? Have you asked me, you know, what stage are my children? So that person obviously is somebody comfortably used to getting.
You know what you said right now reminded me of a story. My younger brother got somebody who came to him recently, about a year ago, because he's a lawyer. So the person was trying to get my younger brother to do a case for him. Was that reminding my younger brother that my father took only oranges
from him?
As a fee. As a fee, like, your father only oranges.
So let him provide mangoes.
My brother like, no thank you.
No thank you.
You know, because they always assume that what your father did. It doesn't work that way.
Yes. I also realized that people always push their boundaries. They always try. They always test. So what you allow determines how far they are coming the next time. And this is to all young people out there who are under this burden, who are carrying. So, you know, when you mentioned your case, I laughed. You were trained, you were sent to school, you were trained abroad, everything was good, you were okay, you were working, and then there was a time. So there's something the scripture says, I can't remember where it was said, that your children will wait for you at the gates to prevent poverty and hunger. So that was what you were doing. You had already been given everything you needed to grow and flourish. And at that time, you were filling in for them. You waited for them at the gates. You protected them. And that's the blessing and the joy of every parent that we pray for. That all the sacrifices we put in, when it gets to that point where we can no longer walk, they will be able to stand up for us. That's different from most of these stories that I hear. So this particular one is complaining that the father wants to have other children. So he has children already, but he wants more children. And he wants to use her to pay for the IVF. Why do you want to have children when you do not even have the means to have the children? So they're born for me to train. That's wickedness. Outright wickedness. That's one. Secondly, I see a lot of young girls who, their parents don't have anything. They have not been given anything. Okay, my mic here. They don't have anything. They've not been given anything. And then these young girls are constantly under the burden of providing for parents who do not have any means to work. So there was one when I was growing up that the parents at the age of 40-something decided to resign, that God called them. Aww. And they stopped working, stopped doing business. And this young girl, where about 18, 19 at the time, started doing different things to fend for her parents and train her younger ones in school. Aww. That sort of, till today, she cannot even find her feet. That derailed her. That's one. We have parents who, instead of putting in the work when they have the energy, they just chill and feel, I've raised you, you will raise your younger one. That's wickedness. We need to understand the entitlement of people like this and find a way to manage them. So, no, it's very easy for me to say. As the demands are coming, let me even tell you the one that happened to somebody very close to me. The father got another wife after one of their stepmothers died. And then she was planning this trip. She hadn't taken her father abroad, so she came to gist me. She was planning, I'm going to take my father to one of these countries. Let me just have a feel. The father called and said, I hope you're taking me and my girlfriend. So buy tickets for 2 of us.
But now, another matter.
It's not another matter. It's the entitlement. This person you are planning to take, you are saving money to take the father. No, it's not another matter. It's entitlement now. You are saving money to take father. Father is now adding girlfriend. I don't understand. Who gave you the girlfriend?
Well, so, if you love your father, you might pay for the girlfriend.
The reason is because a vacation without the other thing.
And then pay for your vacation, then.
And leave the vacation.
So we'll come to that. But let me come to you, because where do you draw the line within sense of responsibility and sense of entitlement, which PC just described? There's a thin line.
Yeah.
I am responsible to my father, but I also know that to make my father happy, I should also be able to, if I can afford it, put the girlfriend.
If you can afford it.
Yes.
And you want to.
And yes. Okay, so for me, I believe in children must be responsible for their parents. We are getting to the place where I think when I travel, my first time traveling, I met one of my family members, and I was like, oh, I'm buying this for my mom, I'm buying this for my dad, and the guy looked at me like, I said, and we had this conversation, we haven't chatted in a long time, now, do you send anything to your parents every month? And he said, no, my mom is rich, my dad is rich, like, why should I? I said, no, it's not about that. It's not about them being affluent. It's about the responsibility
as a child
of you taking care of, let them pray for you. So every month you send something, they'll just send in that prayer, they'll send in that grace and favor your way. It's important for us to keep that value of being our brother's keeper and being responsible. But it's foolishness if we allow black tax kill us. And that is essentially what they call black tax, where the weight of the financial burden from every family member pulls you down from being able to live and grow. It's like you're in a pit. You want to climb out of the pit. You have plenty of people around you. You now say, because I'm climbing out of this pit, I'll be carrying them. All of them will reach anywhere.
Crab mentality.
So you must get ahead into a place of financial, at least a bit of stability, before you can be able to sustainably pull someone else out into financial stability, because you cannot successfully sustain other families. And that is the thing people must get. Some people build their life around the fact that I have a rich uncle or a rich brother or a rich sister, and I will build my family
needs around them.
On them.
I go born for them.
Irresponsible of such person. So it is important for you to understand, I expect them to help me and show me a way to my own financial sustainability.
Let me come to you, Tokwe, because there's a young lady who I spoke. This one is not just that person came to me and she was crying. Now, what you're defining here, the person, this person's brother believes that she's okay because she has an apartment, she gets a monthly income, and she has a vehicle. For him, from where they're coming from, they had none of that. So for him, she has reached that stability. You actually have an apartment, you have a car, and you have a monthly salary. She's made.
That's stable enough.
Well, so that's stable enough. So how do you therefore define stability? Who defines it? Is it because now her older brother is depending on her because you have a house?
You have a house.
So but the truth is, your older brother can depend, and I'll say this, your older brother can depend on you for a while. As long as you see that he's willing to work. It's like when you're married and there are challenges in the marriage at that time financially, you take that burden. If he's not lazy. I have someone that was complaining to me years back about the fact that she stayed in her auntie's house and her auntie's asking her to do house chores.
Before.
A lot. I said, but hello, you should understand, you will help out. It's a normal thing.
It's your house,
if
you do it.
sibling, if you're helping out your sibling, understand that you must create a budget for what you are giving. There must be a budget. If I'm earning salary, I say every time, minimum of 20% of your income must go into future investments. 20%. So you put out your tithe, you put out your giving, you put out your 20%, you put out your rent and your car. Whatever is remaining, every family member can jolly well support it. But you must plan the future, because if you have a job today and you don't have a plan to educate yourself to remain relevant in that industry, you will lose that job in a few years' time. And then your income would also diminish. So it is about wisdom of planning.
So let me come to Nima.
Properly.
I get that. So this planning that Tokwe just talked about. So this young, let's take this, and I would use this other lady also an example. So she has planned it out. That, okay, I only have 10% to work with. But mommy comes from the village. Crying, help your brother, help your brother. You know, and they have that emotional burden. So you are trying to be very objective on what you have for the family. But then you're also connected emotionally to your family, your mom, your aunties, who are saying, help now. You're the only one that has money. So that emotional, can you not be emotional? Is it possible for you not to be emotional?
How do you say no?
How do you say no to people like that?
You say it as it is. You say it as you can, as much as you can. And I'm gifted with family. I have this kind of conversation. You simply say it. It is a blessing when you have a parent who knows that not to overburden one party. I had parents who never asked. They would never ask for anything. So it is only because you were raised to be a responsible child that you do what Tokwe said. You remember to go back home. I know uncles that were raised by my father, they would say to me, it's well to do. And you will never even look back, not even to his children, as in even in a form of payback. So that is irresponsible, irresponsibility at the height of it. But you as a child, whenever that kind of body requests keep coming, you need to sit the person that is in between all of you, maybe your mother, and have a conversation, an honest one. There was a time I asked a family friend who kept saying, but you are there now, we saw you on. I said, Auntie, if you see me on TV, you're happy. But if you hear I prostituted, how would you feel? I think you would. She said, now everybody they do. I said, that's exactly the point. So immediately cut off that relationship. Because that parasitic relationship does not care. Whereas the people who birthed me, they would die 10 times if they hear I prostituted. So if I open up to you and tell you this honest conversation, and you're saying, no, but it's normal,
everybody
cut off, because that's how it is. And if it comes to sibling relationship as well, I'll do the same.
Nima, this lady that I was talking about just sent me a message now. She just says, Mariah, my mom and I are equally afraid of my brother. So obviously he has Kowalayaje. He's the kind of that domineering kind of brother that they can't handle.
No, he cannot put gun.
No.
There's some really hard, strong ones.
This actress, Two-Face's wife and her brother. So that's why I said we should put them in our areas. You see, whatever a person does for you, learn in life to reciprocate it in kindness. If a person is being responsible and providing for you, it's the same thing between husbands and wives. Some women just feel entitled. They never, when their husband brings, your daddy have not given me a clinic. I still told my daughter yesterday, I said, you have an amazing father. He never forgets his role road now is not back home yet, don't grow up and forget it. It's important that, you know, even in any relationship, when a person is showing you responsibility, providing, you always match it. You ask yourself, if I cannot give in kind exactly what is giving, maybe money,
Okay.
can I be there for the person? Do something else to
That's
show
if
that
you have sense.
Let me take this call. Kelechi, are you there? I'm sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning. Cool.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, let me start by commending you about your hot topics. They are always hot.
Thank you.
I did see the hotness first.
Thank you.
You see, Mariah, before I make any contribution, let me quickly ask you. I want to beg you for something. You have digested the issue of abusive marriage against women about 3 to 4 times. I commend you for that activism. Okay, it's a good thing. But please find a way to balance it up. Abusive marriage against men. Because in a society, when a man dies in a violent marriage, they say it's an ordinary, it's a normal thing. Nobody talks about it. But when it's a woman, it is blown out of proportion. That aside, I will be happy to hear you.
Absolutely.
That aside, let me make this contribution, Mariah. You see, this lady in question, like Papa said, is a black tax. I would have appreciated if she said it's an African black tax. You see, this black tax born out of the concept our pastors are giving, our Christian priests are giving us. Now God is speaking. You understand? There are so many dimensions to this matter. You understand? Like our Alhaja said, there's nothing wrong. See, for me, there's nothing wrong in feeling entitled. But we have to balance it up. When somebody is giving you, maybe you are the last born and your family, is well-to-do, don't build your destiny around them because they can disappoint you. Yeah. So finally, I want to suggest that lady that came to you, let her meet a professional, just like she has spoken to you. And she believes that you are a life coach. Let her meet a professional. Let her not drain.
Thank you so much, Kelechi. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we'll continue our conversation. Yes, Bisi, you're going to go.
Yes, I wanted to say that when it comes to issues like this, it's very good that you take a step back and you compartmentalize. Not everybody has the strength. And some of these people who are very needy and very demanding play on your weakness. They know that you're very emotional. I'm your brother, I'm your sister, I'm your mommy, I'm your daddy. You will not let me suffer. And so they play on that. But they know the extent to get to for those people who they know can compartmentalize. So you can have 2 siblings in a family. One is very good with creating that boundary and, having that conversation that, I can't do this right now. It's going to tell on me. I need to plan. Give me time. And one who is always, even the money she has saved to start her business, when you come and bend your neck, she will give it to you. They keep going to that person. So they understand how to play on your weaknesses. One of the ways that you can help yourself is to take yourself out of that situation. Find a way to take yourself out of that situation. And make sure, like what I do in my own cases, I work very hard. I know how many jobs I'm doing. I know how many businesses I'm doing. It's not because I don't like my sleep. It's because I know that I don't want to be a burden to somebody else. If you are around me, you will work hard, or we will not have a conversation. It will not work. We will not gel. You cannot come to my house and you sleep till 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., while I'm up by 4 a.m. Somebody has to. We can't stay together. So take yourself out of that situation. If you need to go and get a place where they don't even know where you are staying, till you get to that level. And I always say this to thank some of our parents who tried as much as possible to hold their own till we were strong enough to, what am I even giving to my father today? What am I giving to my mother today? What exactly am I giving to them? But they gave us that opportunity to, get to that.
Flourish.
Yeah, flourish before we now look at them. So every parent should strive to give their children that opportunity to get to a level before you bring them down.
Sometimes, this for a woman, a young girl, you're not thinking about now. You're remembering the sacrifice of your brother when you were young. You're remembering the sacrifice of your father. Maybe your mother died early, and now he has found new love, and he's happy. And you've seen, because you're not just thinking about the fact that he's asking for money now. You are giving him money because of the sacrifice he has made for you. You're only helping your brother because when you had nothing, maybe when he was okay, he thought about you. So you feel that emotionally connected to him. So you don't want to just discard him.
That's not a problem. Those ones are not a problem. I think it becomes a problem when you begin to feel... It's when it goes from love into burden. When it transcends...
So how do you as a girl tell your loved one that, it's becoming a burden?
It's about having that conversation. There's something that I learned very early in my life. The money that I don't have, I cannot spend it.
Exactly.
So I put my monies out of my reach. Do my budget is not available, and sincerely I don't have it. You will see my account balance in no day. So before the money comes in, I already planned everything that I'm going to, what the money is going to do. We must have the bitter conversation. So when I resigned from TVC as the head of makeup and wardrobe, my salary dropped. I called my investment person, the insurance guy, Michael. I said, Michael, I used to save this money. I cannot afford to save it anymore. Let's downsize it. Slash by half. No, I said slash by 60%. I called my parents. Mommy, because I've resigned, my salary is no, I'm going to slash your monthly allowance. I slashed everybody's and then sacked my housemaid that was expensive, got a cheaper one. The reality is you must look at what you have.
And work with it.
And don't go taking loans. Now, I understand, may God not put us in a medical challenging situation. So when there is medical, like, I spoke to a friend, and the guy said one of his biggest regrets was he watched his father die, and it was small money, but he just could not raise the funds to help. And he knew that if he had the money, he would have been able to. He regrets it forever. He's built a house for his mom. He's done everything he could, but he always just feels like he wished he had money earlier in life when his father was going through that challenge. Of course, we pray that we never face those ones, but for small issues around, create a budget and stick to it.
Let me take a call and come to Nima. Hassan from Lekki, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, the executive members.
Executive members.
Well had. But you see, the issue is not about women. Men go through the same pressure from, what do I call it? I don't want to call them such a ridiculous name. Because we are busy advising a victim. We are not advising the masterminders and the executioners. The parents, you don't put pressure on your children necessarily. It's all right. You are exposing them to danger. You are exposing them to the armed robber. You are exposing them to be anything negative. Look, in this Lagos in 2010, I met a guy. He came for NYS. So the guy told me, he said, look, my father told me, my mom and my father, they called me, sir. They said, look, we train you so that you train your siblings. What a very bad beginning. Somebody undergoing his National Youth Service Corps. You can see. And a lot of girls in this level, when you interact with them, you see the person that is in the best position among you to tell you more about this kind of thing is Nima. Because I know the area she stays. You understand? These are the rugged area. That area you are seeing, that stretch. You are seeing from Maza down. You understand? You see, those are the people that are faced with the reality. You understand? And the way we think, we should begin to talk to the parents.
Thank you very much, Hassan. You see, there's an important point Hassan made that I don't want us to gloss over, which I think is even extremely more crucial. Hassan said something, that this is the daily reality of young men. The reason why this is a topic is because it's like the women. So this young woman, she's crying because the burden is on her. This young lady I told you that is crying to me also because she's a young woman having to do this. But our young men have the burden every day, taking care of mommy, daddy, younger siblings, paying school fees, and they're not whining about it. So they're not that they're whining, but this is the reality of the average Nigerian man that we are complaining, we are talking about because these are young girls who are having this burden. So should we begin to reevaluate the kind of burden we put on our young men? Because this complaint.
But it also talks
a lot of men are going through this.
Yeah. You know, these responsibilities are created and emphasized by parents.
Yeah.
when a mother calls her child, and may God rest my grandmother, and says, never allow your younger ones suffer, you just put a group of people on one person for life. Because, and if it's a dying wish,
he will do whatever it takes.
He will never want to renege on it because he will never have the opportunity to come back to you and say, can you amend that burden you just placed? So that person is now running elter-seketa to make sure that those younger ones who then grew up and say, he's always been the one, rain, sunshine, and so we'll always just go to him. You know, and they will never, only if a few decide to mature, because it takes a sense for someone to break away and say, no, I will not be in that circle.
It's too much for him.
It's too much for one person. So this example he gave, if you ask a few of the girls in the area that he mentioned,
and their mother that
it's always about, I have younger ones in school, I have this and that, I have that and this. If this was a choice they wanted to make to be a big girls, really, it's their choice, so you can crucify them. But when a girl says, I will do whatever so that some people will never suffer, those people, have they ever said to the person, don't do, let us suffer small. You know, don't you worry. Because really, we don't want it. Or do parents really ask their children, what's the source of this comfort you're giving? What are you giving in exchange?
Let me take this call from Aziz. Aziz from Abuja, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Okay. My contribution is in respect to the breadwinner palaver. I would just want to add just one of you, because I'm 29 years and I'm highly disturbed to the breadwinner, challenge. But I believe from the last caller, Mr. Hassan, I think you should emphasize more on our parents need to understand that there are things that when you reach to a certain stage, you need to understand that we are coming up. I have a family that I know that the dad, at the age of 60, he's still adding another wife.
Hey.
So when you look at it from that angle, you already know that there is pressure automatically that is going to build upon that particular family. Because if the father is going to bear children, you have not finished building up your family. And you'll be able to start thinking of, okay, you cannot see your younger siblings not going to good schools. So I think we need to sensitize more on, understanding that, okay, the trend has changed. It's not about bearing, because I'm a northern, I understand how, the concept of adding wives, because of having too many children. But I think the trend has changed now. I think.
Thank you very much, Aziz. Thank you very much. I have a message here from someone. It says that my wife and I had a huge fight because I had to stop our building project to use the money to pay for my dad's children's school fees. I think his half siblings. So his dad remarried, and he needed to support his dad in helping with school fees because obviously the man has retired. So he and his wife had plans to build a house. He had to pause that for his responsibility. So these are responsibilities men do every day. That we don't even blink.
Let me I remember when I was in the university, I think my final year, I had this two roommates who, one was skilled in making hair. So she was making the hair and sending money home. She was training herself in school. She was taking care of her younger ones and the family. They had nothing. She was from class, she would just book, and she was very good. So she's always booked out. She didn't have time to rest. She didn't have time to even look good herself. Always braiding hair. She would braid hair. She would read. She would braid hair. She would read. Just struggle. I saw the struggle and I felt pain. The second one was like, I can't do this kind of
that sibling.
Yeah, no, the other girl was like, and she had responsibilities at home as well. But she decided to go into runs because it was easy money. So I go to this commissioner today, I go to this governor today, I go to this politician today, and I'm making something and I'm sending home. And the parents were collecting this money without questions. So she would go home, she would tell us she's going home. There's this tile that the father said he likes, that he wants to change in the bathroom. She will now gather money and go and change the tiles for them. There's this, they said they now want to be using, yes, a student. They said they now want to be using a washing machine. She will now do some things. And every time she has a big handbag where tops and clothes. And from school, I saw those two lifestyles and I did not wish, I was not happy with the parents. I felt like they had failed in their responsibility. How do you tell this person to stop this act? That this act is evil, when in her mind, I'm just doing this to cater for my family. Now, I've seen also that men are beginning to be very selective now. So when they are dating you, they ask you, how many siblings do you have?
Oh, really?
Yes. Everybody has to wise up. How many siblings do you have? How many jobs? Is your father still working? They want to know, because they are running away from women who will come with all those family extra baggages. It brings them down. I think we should appreciate our men who have been doing this for a very long time, and beg, like Hassan said, beg our parents to do what you can to allow these people flourish. They will always remember you. A child that is good will always come back home and give you the blessings, but let them live like children and young people.
Let me take this call from Shola. Shola, are you there from Magodo? You're live.
Yes, please.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please. Shola.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. You are live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. See, I want to comment on the polygamy thing that we discussed earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, first let me appreciate for, at least for the first time, questioning the baseless but popularly believed opinion that men are generally polygamous. She has done one great thing that at least has questioned the origin, and I appreciate that. And I also want to appreciate the man who has left, because he took us to the genesis of family, and that was in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. Now, that God did not create more than one wife for Adam. Now, I want to add more, that if you proceed to the to the same book of Genesis chapter 5, you will see a retinue of men that were created, that lived, and you always hear them having only one wife. The only exception to them is a man called Lamech, the first one to be polygamous, to have two wives. And it's recorded against him that among all those men, he was the first murderer. Now, let us proceed further to Solomon and Abraham, that people always cite. You know, they did not go without consequences.
Yeah. Right.
No, the Bible recorded those things for us so as to know their mistakes and run away from it. It's not to commend them. God did not approve of them.
Thank you very much for that clarity, Shola. Let's talk about
I wanted to take another angle. One of the things that I have learned is it's not a bad thing to be broke. It's not a bad thing to
it's a situation.
Not have money.
Not have money for a period.
Situation.
When I've had several times when there were huge responsibilities looming and I didn't have the money. So what did I do? Put on my thinking cap. I have a brain.
Solve the problem.
How can I generate the income to make this need? I'm not thinking, which of my family members should I call? And I think that we need to change that thing. When the bills come, when responsibilities come, it is not who should I call, it is what can I do? Because you have a brain, you have your hands, there is something you can do. At least just don't go and steal. So let us use our thinking faculty. I will come and wash clothes in your house. I would design a course. I would be a lesson teacher. I would do. You will find something to do, but begging should be out of it. Right. And don't put your financial responsibilities on another person.
I got this message from someone. It says, givers never lack, no doubt. But I can say for a fact that many men would have been successful today if not for those responsibilities and burdens bestowed on them early in life. In many cases, they are left to bear the consequences alone when they go broke. So I get that. And yeah, go ahead, Nima.
So the case says some family members are simply unreasonable with their sense of entitlement. No matter what you do, they will always condemn you for not doing enough. Imagine how being on TV makes someone assume you're living large. It's a parasitic relationship. We live in a society where we don't have realistic conversations because we don't want to hurt someone with the truth. Hence, hypocrisy thrives. Yoruba will say, being bloodline doesn't mean you should ruin each other. And that's the way we should see it. There's another tweet I would love to take, but that's the
Akpa Martin says that, can a woman also have entitlement mentality towards her husband? That's a different issue. Definitely. That's absolute. But we're focusing on siblings and children's parents. Responsibilities to parents. I mean, this is, I don't want us to just live without having a solution.
Okay.
Because as I said, young men go through this every day. It doesn't make it right, but our society have almost accepted it that it's your responsibility to take care of your siblings once you've made it. Now, the version of the young girls who are also trying to build themselves, what advice can we give those girls as we wrap up this conversation who are struggling to benefit not just their parents, but their siblings and even younger ones, because they're the only ones that have gotten this stability. And now they feel overburdened with these responsibilities.
Let me quickly say that we've talked to the young girls enough. I'd like to talk to the dependents now. So, as a dependent, what you're going through is not your life. It's not like I'm going to be here all the time, so I must be carried by this person. It's a situation that if you wear thinking cap, like Tokwe said, you get out of it. Yeah. You'll also be able. Our parents pray some prayers. I always shout, may all of you be blessed. May all of you be equal. May one of you not be a burden on each other. When my mother does that prayer, the amen is very loud because you know how it will seem. That one person, because that's what brings animosity, envy, and all of that, and destroys family. True. If it's not a good situation to be in. So you must start to see it that this situation that I'm in, I must change that situation and do all that you can. And also, while you are there, it is only temporary. So be a gift to the person who's meeting your needs and not forgetting you, because they can prioritize other things and forget you. At least, which police will you use to catch them? You will only talk to all the people who hate them. Because there are people who like that, who risk that hatred and forget those kind of, that I cannot come and kill myself. So if you have a person who is responsible enough and is killing themselves for you, kill yourself in some way. Be a gift to their blessing. Meet some needs. Sister, let me be the one to help you with your children's school.
Just reminded me.
Do school runs.
Just reminded me of something, Nima, because my brother paid my school fees at least the first 2 years when I was in the US. And I can understand how difficult it was for him because it's not easy. Working, he was married, and he had his own family. And there is his younger sister coming from Nigeria, starting school. He had to pay my school fees, and it was not local fees, it's international fees. So I knew how difficult it was, but I offered myself. I was there, you wake up in the morning, back the kids to school, take them to school, they cook, clean. In fact, just yesterday, interestingly, my mother-in-law were having a conversation. I was now remembering how I used to cry on the phone to my mother, saying, Mommy, you brought me to this place to come out suffer. I'm tired. Everybody will be passing me around because one auntie will call you from Maryland. Yes. How about Michelle this weekend? Maryland, this weekend. I want to call you from Texas. Hey, Joe, this weekend, come. You know, say, I'm the Aburo transferring up and down. My mother said, do it with joy. Do it with joy because your own time is coming.
Yes.
So when your time comes, God will send you your own people.
Your helpers.
So today I sit down and I'm there and I say, this is mommy get it. And I'm going to remember they're around me and I think you can give me things that even when I was your age, I did it. So if you are independent, be a dependent with honor.
Yes.
Honor those who are helping you.
Yes.
Don't take it for granted.
Yes.
And don't make it like an entitlement.
Yes.
Do your own service.
Yes, I like that. Now, I would like to add that one thing that has helped me in life is to know that nobody owes me anything. Nobody. Not even my parents. Nobody owes me anything. Not even husband. Not even my husband. If you choose to give me, I will appreciate it. But I will not be a burden. I will always make sure that I bring value. So if the dependents understand that I may not be where I want to be today, but in that place that I am, I have that value. And also remember that he blessed them, male and female, and said, be fruitful and multiply. That means you have the capacity to be whatever it is that you want to be, and your time will come. If you have that mentality, even when you are at that servant level, you will serve with joy, just like Mariah said.
There's a stage, service.
Yes, we've said several things, and it's important that when you give, you should give cheerfully. When you are giving with bitterness, anger, and resentment, it invalidates the blessing that should come with your giving. So you need to sit back and reevaluate, do I really want to continue this? Can I find a way to find joy in doing these things I'm doing? That's to the person giving. Create your budget is important for you to escape. Most people are in a state of financial stability. Any small thing, you lose your job, you're back into crisis. So you must find it to consistently keep growing your finances by planning ahead. And I would say one thing, if somebody does not give you or help you, they're not wicked.
They're not your God.
They're not bad. You don't know what anybody else is going through. So don't judge based on their inability to help you. Just pray that God sends your own helper your way.
Fantastic. I like that talking because people see us on TV and just assume we have it. Yeah, because this person came on the show the other day.
You know the person.
I think the person. Hey, we don't
give me job. You have connect.
So people will send us messages saying, "You said the account number. Bro, please send us money." Listen.
From where?
Those if I have the extra, I will give. If you don't have it, just believe that it's true that we really
I will not give up my children's school fees
for anybody.
Wake up.
That's all we can take on the show today. I hope we learned a few things as we've tried to share from our own experiences. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.